Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today it's the Friday show. Don't know why I said it like that. Every Friday we sit down and we talk about what I have read this week, what I'm reading next week, a little bit about what's going on the channel, and then kind of anything else under the sun. So sometimes we talk video games, sometimes we talk movies, sometimes we talk TV. But today we've got a lot of books to get through, so I want to get straight into what I have been reading. Booyah! Strength of the Few, nailed it. Done, finished. So, on, I can't remember what day this week actually, maybe Tuesday, I finished Strength of the Few. And I know that this is, I think, semi-controversial, but I actually think I preferred this to Will of the Many. I think that it was a bit more even all the way through for me. So the big anecdote that I give when I talk about Will of the Many is it took me almost 2 weeks to read the first 200 pages and 2 days to read the 200 to 600. This took me a couple of weeks to read, I think, like a week and a bit. But the pace that I went through it was much more even. Whenever I was like, I've not got much to do, I was reaching for this book. I really enjoyed this one. I'll be doing a review for it, which will come out on Monday. Haven't decided yet whether I'm going to film that straight after this. Maybe I will. But yeah, the review will be out on Monday. This one was a really good book that I really enjoyed. The new plot elements, to be as vague as possible, were a real highlight for me. Because we kind of had these like 3 storylines in tandem, and each storyline I felt was kind of peaking and then slowing down at different points, so that the story was always keeping moving and keeping my interest. It's really interesting how the 3 storylines kind of went up and down in my interest level as well. So at the beginning of the book, basically only one of the 3 I was really interested in, and the others I was like, okay, let's keep it moving, let's see what's going on. And then by the end of the book, I was the least interested in that one of all 3. So it's a really good book. I think that it is a great expansion on Will of the Many. And when we often talk about sequel making, so sequel making for me in books, I am looking for smart expansion. So I'm not I am looking for the stakes to increase. I'm looking for the world to get deeper. I'm looking for more characters, more locations, and more innovative magic and fantasy elements. And this book gave me all of those. Very interesting to go straight from the kind of the one plot line that we had in Will of the Many up to 3 for book 2. A lot of authors would, add 1 per book in a series. So you often see this with, like if you look at Wheel of Time, for example, it's basically a single POV in book 1, and then it's almost all round with a couple of other people in book 2, and then book 3, Jordan's like, okay, it's mostly about other characters. So, there's that measured step taking process, whereas James Arlington really kind of goes all in and is like, these are the 3 storylines, I'm going to handle all 3, and I'm really curious to see whether there is an expansion on that in future. This series, from book 1, went from I enjoyed that was fun, it had a good ending, to this one being probably on my top 10 list for the year. We'll see. That is recency bias as well. It is a book that I really enjoyed. The audio book is fantastic. I listened to a lot of audio. I had like a big long cross country trip last weekend where I went to meet up with some friends in Reading, and then went down to Tunbridge Wells to see the Hardy's Books guys, Ross and Laura, for the 1 year anniversary of their shop opening. If I remember, I'll put a photo in. I probably won't. So I would like you to go to my Instagram /SGCH, those are my initials, and there you will see that picture. I know I've forgotten it, so I don't even know why I mentioned it. If you want to see a picture of me, Ross and Laura, and they are very fancily dressed, I'm not. They're there. Right, after finishing Strength of the Few, I move straight on to another chunky boy, Deadhouse Gates by Stephen Erickson. So, I've actually only read the prologue and one chapter of this book. But that's kind of because I had a plan. So, my plan was to read 2 chapters a day of this book. So, one of my commenters said, with Malazan, the books benefit from taking a longer time to read them, so as to not get overwhelmed. And that is kind of contrary to how I read, really. So most of the time when I read books, I do like a big binge session in the evening. I'll read like 90 minutes worth of book in the evening, and that'll be my reading for the day, you know. But I have been told with Malazan that I should spread it out. So I liked that idea when the commenter suggested it to me. Apologies, I've forgotten your name. I should have written it down, but if anything about this channel tells you that I prepare for these videos, then I'm giving the wrong impression. Deadhouse Gates, so my plan was to read 2 chapters a day. So 1 with my morning coffee and 1 after the kids are in bed in the evening. Yesterday, I did not touch Deadhouse Gates. So day 1, on target, on plan. Day 2, 0 progress. So, and day 3 today, I had to do the school run. So that is my coffee time before work starts, is doing the school run. So sadly, we don't have, sadly, I don't have there's much progress as I would like. So I'm kind of 3 chapters behind on my planned progress. What I'm probably going to do is, as soon as do I want to do the Strength of the Few review? No, I'll read after this video. So I'm on my lunch break now. I will read after this video. So I'll read chapter 2. And then tonight I will read at least chapter 3, hopefully chapter 4 as well. So that will get me back on track, as it were, and should leave me in a great spot to go into the weekend, where I might also be able to read more again. So, so far, no idea what's going on. The prose is still as good. The kind of the thing of this book is that it is a completely different part of the world, a different cast, different team, different story to what was happening in book 1. That's what everyone says. So I'm just hoping that Stephen Erickson can get me to care about these characters and what is happening to them. Currently, I don't really know what's going on, and I don't see that as a positive, really. I'll be honest with you. After Gardens of the Moon, which was a 3-star for me, I'll be very interested to see how I feel about this book, because most people say it's a huge step up. Currently, it feels like the same, feels like more of the same. But again, almost everyone says this is a huge step up. So let's see. Malazan fans, you do not need to write comments that are like, stick with it, don't worry, you'll love it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to read the first 3 books. Matt and I have already promised to each other we'll be reading the first 3. So there you go. Next up, I also started audiobooking Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 6, The Bedlam Bride. Is it Eye of the Bedlam Bride? It's something of the Bedlam Bride. I'll be honest with you, these books are so serialised, the titles kind of don't matter. So I have been reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. Most of the time, actually, because I haven't done much driving since I finished the audio for Strength of the Few. I haven't done very much audio time in the last few days. So my audio time with Dungeon Crawler Carl has been while playing video games. So I have been playing a game that's a big JRPG, and there's often a lot of like grinding moments in it. And so when I'm like, oh, this is, half an hour of just fighting monsters with no story progression, that's when I'm putting on my headphones at the same time and listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I got these new PlayStation headphones. They're really cool, and they connect to your phone as well as your PlayStation. So you can still have the game audio and have Dungeon Crawler Carl. So that has been how I've mostly been listening to that book. I am currently 4 chapters in, I think. So barely any progression, like 10% of the book or whatever. But this book in particular has started off quite strong. I'm really interested to know what's going on with the kind of environment, and I would really like to kind of get back together with the rest of the characters. So like Carl and Donut are great characters, but I would like to spend more time with Katya and Daniel Batista and those characters. Interestingly, the prologue being a flashback to when Mordecai was a crawler, I really enjoyed that. It was good to see that kind of pivotal plot moment that we have had referenced multiple times but never really like explained. So yeah, looking forward to reading that one. I'm enjoying it so far, and the thing that I've quite liked about this one is that it hasn't been mega bogged down with the RPG stuff up front, which I feel like the last few books have been really heavily mechanical and lit RPG focused at the beginning, and have then after like 30% settled into the story, whereas this one has actually been pretty story heavy up front. Specifically, like I was saying, the prologue with Mordecai. I don't know what happened there. My camera just stopped recording and started showing me my camera roll on the screen for some reason. Anyway, we're done with books, and I actually had finished what I was saying when we're talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl. So, and Gus decided to join us, so that's actually a benefit for you, if I would say anything. Next up, I wanted to do a little unboxing. So I got a package from Broken Binding. I am on their fantasy subscription, the tier 2. I don't particularly care about signatures on books unless I have got the signature in person, like a signed and personalised. So tier 2 is perfect for me. I don't know why I would pay extra for a signature. Like, it adds value to the book, right? But I'm not buying the books for the value. I'm buying the books for my like personal enjoyment. Anyway, so right, let's throw this away. Gus will probably get in that box now, so you won't see him on screen anymore. I'm pretty certain I remember what book this one is, but I guess we'll find out together. Right. Broken Binding does pack their books really well. Big shout outs to the Broken Binding. I was correct. This is the book from the series The Band. Kings of the Wild is the name of the book. It is the November subscription book. I have wanted to read Kings of the Wild for a really long time. It's been on my TBR forever. And I was really excited when I saw Broken Binding doing a special edition of it. One of my friends, Charlie, is a huge Kings of the Wild fan, and when I saw they were doing the set, I sent him over the picture and was like, "Oh, your favourite books are getting a Broken Binding, are getting a special edition, and I'm gonna own it." And he was very jealous. So we have a lovely foiled cover here. It has artwork of this kind of gladiatorial arena thing, which actually goes onto the spine as well, which is pretty... I've always really liked artwork that goes onto the spine. Big fan of that. There's like a flying boat here. That's pretty cool. And then, yeah, I do like the nice foil cover. And then we've got some lovely interior art. Sometimes these artworks do spoil the books, which is a bit annoying when that happens. But for this one, I don't know anything about the book apart from that it's like kind of 80s rock influenced. And then we've got, I was just said, because I was like, is that bottom edge misprinted? But I think it's fine. So here's the board art. And then we've got the end papers. So yeah, a really nice addition. The multicoloredness of these characters kind of makes them feel like Power Rangers to me. I don't know whether that's correct or not. Also, big shout out, I'll say this now, to the broken binding because this has a ribbon. I love ribbons in books. Ribbon is like, if you said to me, what do you want out of your special edition? Do you want sprayed edges or a ribbon? My answer would be ribbon every time. I think sprayed edges are much of a muchness, mostly because I display my books on the shelves with the title facing outwards, so the sprayed edge means almost nothing to me, because the only time you'll see it is when I get the book off the shelf to read. But yeah, Kings of the Wild from Broken Binding, chuffed with that edition. That's really nice. There is also a bookmark with it too, which I will slide in. I'll go straight on the shelf. Because this is a duology, I'm kind of tempted to try and slot it in early next year. I'm going to do a video soon about my 2026 reading plans. But the gist of it is going to be finishing off stuff. Like, finishing is going to be my priority. For years, I have chased new subscribers and new viewers by reading a lot of book ones, and I am now at the point where I would like to nail some stuff down. So I'm going to try and read sequels next year. I did not do very well at that this year, or last year, or the year before. Anyway, so yeah, that's everything for unboxing, because that's the only thing I had to unbox. Moving on to non-book related things. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Stranger Things yesterday. That's why I didn't get my reading done. I watched Stranger Things instead. Watched the first 2 episodes of the new series of Stranger Things. All of the wigs are hilarious. I think every character, with the possible exception of David Harbour, is wearing and Joe Keery definitely isn't wearing a wig. I think every character is wearing a terrible wig except David Harbour and Joe Keery, whose hair is so much a signature of that actor that he can't wear wigs. I really, really like some of the non-child cast in Stranger Things. Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Joe Keery. I can't remember Uma Thurman's daughter's name. Maya Hawke, she's fantastic. Sadie Sink is great, actually. I'm a big Sadie Sink guy. And the guy who plays Dustin, I'm a big fan of. But Mike, Will and Lucas kind of grate on me at the moment. Not sure why. Jonathan used to be one of my favourite characters. He's kind of grating again. Yeah, so where we're at in the story at 2 episodes of season 5 of Stranger Things is really fun. I'm going to finish that season this weekend, I think. Well, finish the 4 episodes that are available of that season. And then looking forward to the next tranche of episodes at Christmas. The other thing that I have been watching is Pluribus on Apple TV. So I watched the first episode of that. That is like an absolute banger of a pilot. So if you love TV pilot episodes, which I'm a huge TV pilot episode guy. I really like the craft of that opening episode, that first ever episode in the series. I genuinely really like that. So I do watch a lot of pilots and don't continue on to the shows. But yeah, I think Pluribus is the best pilot I have seen since like Person of Interest, Lost, Battlestar Galactica, like the best shows of our generation, you know? So if you haven't watched the Pluribus pilot, it is beyond good. Like 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 6 out of 5, 11 out of 10. Fantastic. 100% worth your Apple TV subscription. After that, I've mostly been playing games as well. So I've been playing Dispatch, which is a Telltale style game. It's basically an animated movie where you choose what happens. Really, really enjoyed this one. The final episode was a really banging finale with a lot of great choices to make, a lot of great action, and a lot of great character moments. And I think that it really says something about that game that I finished it and was like, I want to play this again. And I had to genuinely stop myself from restarting it over to try and see what the other decisions were. Interestingly, I was on the opposite end of a lot of decisions to the majority. So you can choose to romance one of two characters, and I chose the one that most people didn't. You can also, it tells you at the end, like, what kind of a character you were. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were like, I got the, Robert, the ending that said Robert had a hard life, but he tried his best, and he, made some good choices. And mine was like, Robert was a true hero and made the best possible choice in every situation. So I would just like to say, I'm a pro Dispatch player. And I think that my dispatching score for like the last couple of rounds of dispatching was like stronger than 83% of players, which is very funny because one of my first dispatches was like, you were worse, you were only better than 2% of players, so I was in the bottom 3%. Super high recommendation for Dispatch. It is almost certainly going to be my game of the year. I don't see any other game even coming close. No, I have not played Silksong. No, I didn't like Expedition 33. But Dispatch is legitimately going to be game of the year. Don't see anything troubling it at all. Really looking forward to playing that one again. Probably early next year, maybe. I would have liked to have... I played the first few episodes with my wife, and she was really enjoying it. But I wanted to carry on, and she didn't. So I didn't get to see her point of view on the choices I made later, which maybe we will play together, and I'll get her to make the choices. That'd be fun. Also, games-wise, I'm still plugging away at Trails into Reverie. I've been playing the last hour before bed. I've been playing away at that one. I've been really enjoying that. But I have to say, I think that's everything. I think that's all the stuff we need to talk about this week. We've talked video games, we've talked TV, haven't watched any movies, and we have talked about all the genuinely great books that I've been reading. So yeah, next week, obviously, I will be continuing with Deadhouse Gate and Dungeon Crawler Carl. My original plan was to try and finish Deadhouse Gates 1 week from today, so next Friday. That's where I would have been done if I had stayed on plan. But I'm not going to. I'm not currently on plan. The deadline for finishing that one, if I want to stay on target with my videos, is to finish it the Monday, 1 week from Monday so that I can then finish it in the morning, record the review and have it up at night. But we will see. If that video review has to slip, it has to slip. We've talked about this in the past many times. Matt and I are doing our spoiler discussion. I know I've promised this a few times for the Gardens of the Moon spoiler discussion, but I had to reschedule, then he had to reschedule, and then we are probably going to do our chat this week, but I have a pretty busy work week as well, and I have an evening event on Tuesday. Tuesday would have probably been the day for us to do it. So I haven't yet asked him dates for next week, but it might not be next week that you get your spoiler discussion. It may be that next week I will put out my video of my reading plans for 2026. So stick around. We're not going to do a formal TBR. We are purely just going to go by vibes, but I'm going to talk about the series that I want to pick up. So Mike's Book Reviews actually does this video that's like a series that I'm going to read in 2026 in permanent ink. And nothing I do is in permanent ink. However, I do have plans that I'm pretty happy with in terms of what I want to be reading. So I will update you with those when I can. Oh, one final thing. After Deadhouse Gates, I'll be reading 12 Months by Jim Butcher, the latest Dresden Files book. I got sent an early review copy, so really excited to read that. As you guys know, Dresden Files is like top 3 series of all time for me, and I cannot wait to read more in that world. It's been a couple of years since I read Battleground. Well, I haven't read the novella yet, The Law, so maybe I will read The Law, then I will read Thingamajig, 12 Months. That would be good, actually. I'll read both of those. So thanks so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you liked this video, give it a like and comment down below and tell me what you've been reading, what you've been playing, what you've been up to, and what you have on the plan. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you on Monday. Goodbye.